Hello, I'm Elise, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I joined the Be Free Inner Circle because I wanted to surround myself with like minded women. I wanted to feel a sense of community and be able to fellowship. And what I love most about the inner circle is that I feel safe to be vulnerable. I can celebrate my wins. I can go there for advice. I can cheer other women on. And I feel empowered. And I love that I have that at my fingertips, basically, especially when I'm having a not so good day. I can always go there and have my spirits lifted.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, your clarity cultivator, where I'm going to inspire you to show up for yourself. This week, I am back with another Chasing Free series, and today I'm interviewing my friend, Alisha Robertson, and she's the author and the founder of Living Over Existing, a podcast, newsletter, and community for women entrepreneurs who want to run a successful business without sacrificing the life she desires. After experiencing severe burnout, Alisha tore down everything she thought she knew about becoming a successful entrepreneur and decided to build a brand that helped women to focus on building their business and life with intention. Through her work, Alisha strives to not only help women entrepreneurs to launch, grow, and scale their brands, but also help them prioritize themselves in the process, which y'all know I'm all about that. So, Alisha, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I am so excited to talk to you. Of course, I've already been on your podcast, so naturally it's
Mhm.
only right that you come on here and kind of share your story. And I've been having so much fun, like having conversations about how women are pursuing their purpose, whether they have a company or not, and what that looks like. And I've been getting a lot of positive reviews too from the interviews. So I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah, thank you again. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So tell us what inspired you to pursue your dreams and begin creating the life you want.
Yeah, so I have always told people I was the type of person who just never did well within a job.
Mhm.
Like just like everyone else who graduated from college, they had big dreams of like landing their big career and like, scaling up the corporate ladder. And I had all of those dreams too until the recession hit
Mm,
and I was left without a job. So that really kind of pushed me into a place of one, figuring out what I could do without always getting like negative like feedback on like my resume and being told no every time I applied for a job or not, ever hearing back. And it really just kind of pushed me into maybe figuring out how I could take care of myself while also doing something that I love, but in my own terms. So that was like the very beginning, I guess, leap of faith was just saying, well, nobody's going to hire me, if I'm just going to keep landing these jobs that are just sucking me dry. And like my last job that I have literally made me have an entire like panic attack on the bathroom floor, like completely
mm,
just crushed me mentally. And I figured, well, if either I can keep living life like that, being told no, being judged by my resume, being judged by, what qualifications I did or didn't have, or, staying in jobs that just completely suck me dry. Or I can take a leap of faith and just see how I can use the gifts that God has.
that it takes a lot of courage to really step out on your own. Like, you know how you have these gifts and these talents, but then we've been trained to follow the corporate ladder. So when you step outside of that, that takes a lot of courage to do that. And many people don't do it and they stay in these safe spaces because of fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I love
absolutely.
that you stepped out and you've created such amazing work. Was it easy, do you feel like in the beginning, or did it feel like what the hell am I doing, you know?
I felt like, what the hell am I
Yeah.
doing? Because like I
Yeah.
said, like that's how like we're brought up. Like, you go to school, you get a job, you work that job until they say you can retire, and then that's it. So that's all I knew. I didn't know anyone else who was an entrepreneur. None of my family, none of my friends. Like I grew up in a family of women who literally worked themselves to the bone. So like that's all I saw. So taking a leap, it was terrifying mostly because I didn't have a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
to follow. I didn't have anyone that I could go to say, am I doing this right? Or what should I be doing? Or how can I market myself? Or should I just stop this and get a job? Like, I didn't have that. So I was literally terrified because I didn't know. And I feel like back then there weren't as many business resources as there on, now. I can go now and take a class on pretty much anything business related. But that wasn't there 6-7 years ago. So I really had to learn from trial and error and prayer and
Mm-hmm.
just, being willing to bet on myself and take that big leap of faith.
Yeah, and I can relate so well to that because when I started Be Free Project in 2014, I didn't have a blueprint either. There wasn't like as many resources as there are now. And like you, I didn't have friends or family that was in the space that I'm in. And it was
Mm-hmm.
scary because I'm like, what the heck am I out here doing? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But thankfully, and I had another guest on previously where she talked about like not giving up. And I think that that is the core of
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like, once you make a decision to take a leap of faith and show up for yourself, you have to be willing to give your all and to not give up. So, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
tell me, how does your business line up with your purpose in life?
Yeah. So I have always felt like I was a teacher in some sorts, not necessarily in the traditional sense of like teaching kids or teaching on like a collegiate level, but I always just felt this need to help women, but also help women in a way that would help them to fulfill their purpose or whatever their big dreams are. Have always been the friend that was like, oh, you want to start this business? Like, girl, go do it. And let me give you 10 different ideas of how you can like really put it out there. Or, you're the friend who wants to quit everything and go travel. Like, I want to support you. Like, I've always been that encourager. And, for a long time, I just felt like I was just a free spirited friend who just told everybody go do what you want to do.
Hmm.
But like learning more about myself and learning more about like the gifts I have been given, I've learned that I can, you know, encourage women to go out there and pursue their dreams, but I can also use what I have learned through my experience and my years to help them to reach that, specifically in helping them to build their brands. My journey through entrepreneurship has been one heck of a roller coaster ride. I'm talking like crazy. And for a long time, I was like, Lord, why am I going through all of this? Like, am I doing something wrong? And
Yes.
is
Hmm.
this like, am I not supposed to be in this space? Like, am I, just not, am I not in alignment with what you want me to do? And I've learned through each phase and each step I've taken in entrepreneurship that something in that season that I was in, I've been able to use to teach other women how to avoid those things or how to get out of those spaces, especially when it comes to having this big dream and actually believing that you can go after this thing and pushing past the fear and pushing past the doubt and insecurities and all the other things that comes with building a brand. So I truly feel like living over existing has been years in the making because
Hmm.
I've had to learn so much about building a business and then building a business with intention so that I can go and help other women to do the same thing. So I really do feel like my purpose is to teach, but specifically to
Hmm.
teach women how to go after whatever in life it is that they want.
And this is why we're friends, because I
Yes.
feel like I'm like, girl, yes. And I'm trying to stay quiet on my end for the whole podcast sake. But I'm in my mind, I'm like, yes, yes, yes to all of that. Because like you, like this journey has been such a roller coaster. And in the beginning,
Mhm.
you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
like you too, like I am a teacher and not like teaching kids, even though I homeschool, but that's a different story. But like teaching others how to do the work and to show up for themselves.
Mhm.
And I think when you're really passionate within yourself to do this work, it's like you just have to get it out of you. Like, I have to share this
Mhm.
with someone else and teach them so that their life can be better. So I love
Mhm.
that. And I love, because I've watched, like, we've known each other for years at this point,
Long
and I've
time.
watched the ebbs and flows and all the amazing things that you've done and how you've
Mhm.
blossomed, because you started with the jewelry business, and
Yes.
now with the community and the coaching and all the things that you do. I think is so important that people hear that, so they don't feel like, okay, I launched this type of service business and I have to say, I have to continue to do this no matter
Mhm.
what. No, you get to pivot and you get to change things because it's your
Mhm.
brand, it's your company. So I love
Right.
that.
You
Now,
can
how,
change.
yeah,
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's a lot of conversation about changing your mind. I
Mhm.
feel like it's scary and people just stay stuck in something or
Mhm.
they quit and give up altogether versus finding, okay, what makes me feel alive? What brings me joy? And how can I create it in a way that feels good to me? So, yeah. Okay. So tell me, what do you enjoy most about living life on your own terms?
Yeah, I love the freedom.
Hmm.
Like, I love there is nothing better to me than being able to get up and say, "Okay, what do I want to do today?" Being able, and even though, like, I'm a big scheduler, like, if I don't write things down or if I don't write out my to-do list, it's not gonna happen, but for the most part, I have say so on when I want to schedule calls. I have say so on when I want to hop into my community and, to help them. I can create my own schedule. And for a long time, I was working in like these jobs where I was one of those people working 13 hours on Black Friday.
Hmm.
I, was having to go back to work, or leave like my family holiday functions early because I had to be to work early the next day. And like, it just pained me so bad. Like, I don't want to live my life being told constantly what to do, what to do, what to do. And if you think about it, we go to college thinking that, we have a little bit of freedom, but then we have professors telling us what to do. And then we graduate and we have a job of people telling us what to do. And I never felt like I had the freedom to just figure things out for my own, like really make my own decisions and to say, I don't want to do this today, so I'm not going to do it. So
Yeah.
I love just the freedom that it allows me, especially now since I have a now 7-month old
Oh my
who,
gosh, 7 months already.
yes, I
That's
know,
crazy.
so quick,
Yes.
so quick. So like she's running my life, but you know what? I have the ability to say, okay, I'm going to push work aside for a couple hours. Let me play with her, get her down, and then I can get back to work. So I love being able to just have that freedom. And I know I have so many reasons. Like, my mom's here now and she has like, a few health issues. So I'm able to go and help her when she needs me.
Yeah, I love that too. And that's one of the many things that I enjoy is the freedom that I get to wake up every single day and do what I want and get to choose my
Mhm,
day.
mhm,
And I don't know if I realize how powerful that really is until like maybe over the last couple of years. And I'm like, you know what? I get to decide. I get
mhm,
to decide. And it's
mhm.
almost like taking your power back, you know?
Exactly.
So I love that. So describe a great success that you've had thus far, big or small, in your company.
So we just launched our membership community for women entrepreneurs, which was a huge deal to me because I wanted a way where I could continue to coach women without coaching them like one-on-one, which is like a huge time saver. And I had like my beta members for the majority of 2019, kind of like testing out things and trying out different strategies and, getting them in a good place where they're engaging and, talking with each other. And I was so nervous to launch because I was like, people are not going to want this. There's so many, how, you go through that whole doubt process of
Yes, girl.
nobody's going to want this. This has been done 1,000 times before. Nobody's going to pay for this. No one's going to see the value. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to launch it anyway because I've been putting in the work for the
Yes.
majority of 2019 and I'm not going to let it go to waste. So I'm just going to launch and see what happens at least. And we launched and we had a really good launch. I know
Yay.
we have over 30 women in the community now, which is incredible for, I feel like, something brand new that people
Absolutely.
were not, really expecting from the brand. So that has gone really well. And I feel like this year, well, 2019, should I say, we're in
Right.
now, has brought just so much clarity of what I want. And I feel like launching that community was like the first big milestone of really heading the company like in a good, solid direction.
I love that. And I am seeing more community spaces, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
is what people need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they need what I view or whatever, like having that community, having that sisterhood where they can
Mm-hmm.
connect with other like-minded individuals, whether it's on personal growth or getting,
Mm-hmm.
working on their business or everything in between. I think that that's beautiful to have that because we need spaces. And what
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday. I said, and not only do we need online communities, but people are yearning for more human interaction. Like
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and Instagram is great to connect, but I think people want to go back to the bookstore and have,
Yeah.
conversations, or go to the
Mhm.
coffee shop and talk to people in like real life. So
Mhm.
what you're cultivating, I think, is really, really beautiful, because you get the opportunity to create spaces for women to gather and, yes, talk about their business, but also grow personally as well. So that's
Mhm.
amazing.
Thank
What has been your biggest challenge as a business owner thus far? And I'm sure you probably have many like I do, but like for you, what has been your biggest challenge?
Yeah. I would definitely say stepping out of my comfort zone, aka stepping from behind of my laptop.
Yes.
I am introverted, like a huge introvert, like in person, and I've found a way to like talk and sound all confident. If y'all could see this, I'm doing like air quotes behind the computer, and my husband keeps telling me like, you need to like get out in public, you need to network, you need to talk to people. And that's one of the ways that he has really helped his brand to grow, but he's also super extroverted, so I'm like, I don't want to. But he's like, no, like you need to like get out in person. And I will say, all of the times I have gone out in person to either network or go to events or do different things, it has gone really well. But for me, I still have it like in the back of my mind of, stay in your safe space, sit here behind your laptop where people, they know your voice, they know what you do in a laptop situation. So like getting out of the house, getting out of my comfort zone has been probably the hardest part for me in
Mm.
business.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if the listeners know, but you and I held an event
Yeah.
back in 2017 now, which is crazy that it
It's
was that
crazy.
far ago, but it was called Purpose, Passion, Action. And I went to North Carolina, and Alisha and I hosted an event together, and it
Yeah,
was amazing.
it
And
was.
that was our first time meeting in real life, but you didn't come off introverted at all. And
Really?
not at all.
Oh
Like, I
gosh.
felt like you were in your space or in your zone. And I'm not extroverted. I'm actually, and I know it may be hard to believe, but
Mhm.
I'm actually an ambivert. So I'm a mix of two. So when I get into spaces, like when we host events or things like that,
Mhm.
it's almost like my light comes on and I'm extremely extroverted, like hugging the people, doing
Yeah.
all the things. But, I also love like my quiet time. Like after all of that energy, because it takes so much from
Mhm.
me, I have to go back and like kind of feel myself back up.
Yeah.
When it comes to like hosting events, you're amazing. You're
Thank
amazing. And you,
you.
not only did we do an event together, but did you have something last year? I feel like where you did it,
What
or
did I
maybe the
do?
year before,
I
like
think
you
that was
had,
like the year before.
where you did like something at a
Mhm.
co-working space, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was like the year before. I think I hosted a workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
But I
like I
have
said, oh, go
mhm.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. I was gonna say I'm hosting my first real event in my eyes in at the end of January. So
Yay.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
taking
give
it.
us a date so I can make sure, just in case this comes out before, that I
Yeah.
can link to it.
Yeah, so it's January 25th, here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's called Mind Body Brand.
Mm.
It's a wellness event for women entrepreneurs. So I feel like we take so much time worrying about our business and our people around us and serving our clients and serving our customers that we don't put enough emphasis on ourselves. So this
Mm.
event is going to be just like a self-care day for women entrepreneurs. There's going to be a live podcast recording, and then I have someone coming in to do like a yoga and meditation session with us as well. So it's going to be a cool event.
So look at you, you're pushing
I
past your
know,
challenge and hosting an event, and to
I
kick off
am,
the year.
I
I
am.
love it. I love it. I love it. And
Thank
I'll make
you.
sure that I link to it in the show notes so people
Okay.
can take a look if they're in the area. So what keeps you motivated on days when you feel overwhelmed?
Bills.
Right. Right, and that is the common answer on here, is that money, or absolutely. I'm with you.
Yeah, but no, like no, but other than bills and having a mouth to feed now, I've always kept in the back of my mind that someone out there needs what I have to offer. And if I'm not willing to put that out there and serve them, then that's just doing them a disservice. And it's going to be like a spiraling effect. They're not going to be able to serve their people because they're not getting what they need from me. And I don't want to be at the top of that spiral effect. Like, I want to be able to say, well, I put it out there, I served you, now it's your turn to go and do your part. So that is a huge like push for me to keep going even when I don't necessarily feel like it.
And I can relate to that so much. I believe in that. Like, I believe like I'm here to serve others. And if I don't
Mm-hmm.
show up, I'm holding somebody else back. And when I think of it from that perspective, that is like, okay, the motivation that I need to kind of
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you said one of your biggest challenges was, with you being introverted. What would you say is your biggest fear and how do you overcome it? So
Oh,
outside of events and all that jazz,
yeah.
like what's your biggest fear and how do you overcome your fears?
Oh gosh. My biggest fear. Oh no, I probably can name like 12. My biggest fear, honestly, is probably being so focused on my brand and pushing myself into doing what I feel called to do, that my biggest fear is that if it fails, then I would have put all of that pressure and weight on my family. That's probably, I know that's like deep, like,
And I'm like, and it's heavy. That is a lot. That's a lot of weight to carry.
And I think that's probably the first time I've said that out loud. So shout out to you for being my therapy session.
Yes. Yes. But that's a lot to
It
carry.
is.
Wow.
Yeah. But like, that's honestly, that's a fear of mine. Like, I know we would be okay if for any reason what I'm doing didn't work. I know that if this doesn't work, then there's something greater for me to be doing. But just the thought of, now I have to put that whole pressure of keeping up with our lifestyle and things like on my husband, and we have a child, and that's a lot of pressure. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about enough.
Yep.
It's like, it's not just me anymore. When it was just me, I could throw stuff at the wall and I didn't care if it failed or not because I was going to be okay. I could eat
Yep.
ramen noodles until my face turned blue, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that now that I have a whole family. So that's probably one of like my biggest fears right now.
And so how do you overcome that? Like, what is your
Yeah.
process in overcoming
Yeah.
that fear?
I It's still a struggle, I will say, but I know for me, staying connected with God and just asking for that reassurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I can get into like these really like bad spaces where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I start doubting myself and I'm like, okay, God, just send me like a sign, give me some reassurance that I'm like on the right path. And after that, I'll get like a sale,
Mm-hmm.
or someone will send me an email saying,
Yes.
you really inspired me, or this really helped me, or like y'all just get some type of like good
Yep.
news. It's like that little push
Mm-hmm.
I need to just get to the next day. So those little things like that is what like really keeps me going. And then two, I like to journal. I'm really big on journaling.
Me too.
Yeah, so I will sit down and just journal out like what I feel my purpose is, and I'll journal out like my vision and like the things that I want. And I really, during that time, I try to block out like any negativity or any doubts or anything like that. So that really helps me to stay aligned with what I want to be focusing on. So that kind
Mm-hmm.
of gets me out of that space too.
I love that. And that's good. And like you, I love to journal and I will take
Mm-hmm.
that pen to the paper real quick. Like, let
Uh-huh.
me just get all of this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a release, like after you do that. And it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
really doing good here, and
Mm-hmm.
it just helps you refocus and recenter. So I love that. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me, what's the most important lesson that you've learned about yourself this year? Lesson, or let's just say, what's the most important thing that you learned about yourself this
Okay.
year?
Oh, can I give like a personal and a business lesson?
Yep, let's have
Okay.
it.
Okay. Personal lesson, I am a lot stronger than I think that I am, both emotionally and physically. I'm pretty sure for everyone out there who has had a child, you know how just mentally and physically just stressful it can be on you.
Yes.
And I thought I was strong before, but nothing showed me my strength more unlike, staying in labor for 17 hours.
Oh
Yes,
my
girl.
gosh.
Insane.
Wow.
And then, everything that comes after that, I was like, oh, if I can do this, then I can like take on the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then business wise, it showed me that my biggest lesson I think was I don't necessarily have to conform to how the world, I'm doing air quotes again,
Mm-hmm.
the world tells me I should be doing business. I tried that years ago and it led me to extreme burnout. And I've learned that I can be successful and still take a nap. I can
Yes.
do what I love and still serve people and not run myself to the ground trying, all of the different marketing techniques that everybody is telling you that you should be doing. Like, I can still pay my bills and take a real maternity leave, which was hard for me at the beginning of 2019, like really hard for me. But I can still rest and take care of myself and still be a successful entrepreneur. So that was, I think, my biggest like business lesson of 2019.
I love that. And that's a lesson that I learned this year too, that I can do things my way. And it's almost like I had to get permission, because my coach, we've been talking about this a lot. And like you, I'm like doing all these things because this person said do this and this person said to do this. It wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work. Like, I wasn't seeing the success that I had in my mind. I'm like, because you're not doing it your way. You're doing what you've been taught. And just because it's working for them, 9 times out of 10, you don't even know if it's working for them. You just know what they choose to show you.
That part.
Yes. And that's a whole nother discussion, right? And so that is a lesson that I've learned this year. And when I tell you, Alisha, it's been such a relief for me. Like, I can post what I want to post. I can share what I want to share, and it feels good. And it doesn't feel any pressure or anything like that. And it feels right,
Absolutely.
So I love that. So tell me, what's something that you're most proud of?
Yeah. Oh gosh. This like business that I've built, like I've had businesses in the past, I've had a long history with that, but I really do feel like living over existing is like my thing. Like, I've been able to use all the gifts that I have, like from teaching to writing to being able to like interact with other women who get it, and like put all of that into this one brand. And that was something that I was told in the past wouldn't be possible, that I had to niche down, that I had to focus on like this one thing. And I always felt like something about that wasn't right. And I was like, I have all of these gifts. I should be able to use all of them for something. And I love that I have literally been able to take everything that I love and that I'm good at and put it into like this one brand, and to actually see that it can work. So I think that's one of the things I'm like most proud of.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you too, because that is amazing to be able to take all your gifts and create something your way and not listen to all the noise out there, and then it actually be working for you. So I love that. So we've been talking a lot about business, right? Tell me, how do you celebrate your wins? Because I am not doing a good job at that. I'll be honest. Like, I go from one thing to the next, and I have to really be intentional. Like, Siobhan, you just did this major thing. Let's sit with that. So tell me, how do you celebrate your wins?
Honestly, Siobhan, I struggle with that too. Like, but I want to be better at it. And I don't know, like sometimes now I'll have a big win and I'll just treat myself to a nap. Like, let me just ride this high right on into my bed and go to sleep.
Yes.
Or like, I know one thing I really want to be better at doing in 2020. I love to eat. Like, I love eating. I love experiencing like a new restaurant. Like, so I want to make that a regular thing. With whenever I accomplish something big, I want to say, okay, I'm going to go take myself to this new restaurant and like just enjoy just the experience of being in a new place, eating new food, and like having good conversations around it. So that's one of the things I really want to, I think, celebrate with next year.
And I'm going to hold you accountable. So I'm going to check in and say, have you been to a new restaurant lately? What have you tried new? I'm going to hold you accountable to that for sure. You're welcome. So tell me, how do you practice self-care? Because I know it's a big part of your company, not only for women to be building these amazing brands, but also teaching them how to prioritize themselves. But share with me, how do you practice self-care, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So self-care on a, I guess, like feel good side. For me, I have like my self-care Sundays, which is when I give the baby to her daddy and they go do their thing. And I take like a good long shower without being rushed. I wash my hair. I do like my whole skincare routine. Like, I listen to podcasts while I'm doing it. After that, I'll like read or journal, or like I'll plan for the week. I know that doesn't sound like self-care, but like going into the week with a plan, like it helps me like release anxiety. So like I have my whole self-care like Sunday thing that I do. And then another thing of self-care, honestly, and this might sound bad, but I put my daughter in daycare 2 days a week.
I know, that's
honey, that is self-care to me.
Yes, because it's a lot.
It is. I am able to like get work done, and I can like take a nap randomly during the day if I want to. I can go enjoy lunch if I want to. So that has been like my thing. But really, Sundays is like my go-to. I'll try to like sneak in a couple hours, here and there during the week. But like we all know, Sunday is my thing. Even my mom is like, "Oh, I forgot it's Sunday. I'll call you back later."
And kudos to you for figuring that out
Thank
as
you.
a first-time mom
Thank
in
you.
your first year raising a baby and a company and all the major changes that
Mm-hmm.
you've made. Like, kudos to you, because I know when I first had kids, and I was in corporate America at the time, but I lost myself, like
Yeah.
completely lost myself, and my life became all about the children and being
Mm-hmm.
a wife and working and doing all the things. And I love how you cultivated this very early on. So now you can be an example for your daughter. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you can raise an amazing brand and you can be married and then also raise your kids, but then take care of yourself too. So I
Yeah.
love that. So I
Thank
know your
you.
company is all about supporting women, right? Both of us,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do. But outside of the company that you've built, how do you support women in your everyday life outside of living over existing? Because that's a given, you know?
Yeah. So I try whenever I can to shop with women. I feel like putting your money, into a woman is probably one of the best ways that you can, show your support. Um, I'm always encouraging women, like even if I don't really know you, like don't tell me your ideas or your goals because I'm gonna
Girl,
hype you
me too.
up.
Me too.
And I'm gonna hype you up, and then I'm gonna give you a list of things that you need to go do. And I'm always just like, I have a lot of friends right now who are like launching new projects and have all these big ideas of what they want to do in 2020. So I'm like, okay, so you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this next, and then I'm gonna check in on you. So I'm always just like trying my best to hype people up and saying, look, I'm here. You don't, necessarily have to go through my company to ask me for help or ask me for
Yes.
feedback. Like, girl, send me a text message. You got my number. Like, I have no problem like helping you any way that I can. So shopping and then also encouraging is one
I
of my
love
favorite
that.
ways.
I love that a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Now, what advice would you give to someone just getting started when it comes to launching their business or doing something outside of their comfort zone?
Mm-hmm. I would say fear is only an emotion. It's just like happiness, just like sadness. It comes in waves and like it comes and then it goes. But you have to remember that fear can't physically hurt you, but it will stop you from doing all those things that you want to do. So when you're launching, when you're growing, when you have all of these ideas coming up, fear is going to hit you. It's like as hard as it possibly can. It's going to try its best to stop you, but you really have to keep that in mind that this is just an emotion. It's going to pass. Like, and ask yourself too, like, if I do this, am I going to die?
Right.
If you're not gonna die, then, or if it's not gonna physically harm someone else, then go do that thing. Like, the
Yes.
worst that can happen is, someone says no, and then you can learn from that no and go ask somebody else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
fear is going to try and smack you in the face, but
Mm-hmm.
even if it does, like, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and just keep going after that thing. The best way I feel like to combat fear is to go towards it. Like, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you get closer to it. So just keep going. Don't let it stop you. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel uncomfortable, but it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. Like, if it was
Mm-hmm.
really, really easy, then it's probably not the thing that you're supposed to be doing. But if you low key feel like you're about to pee your pants all the time, then
Yeah.
then that probably means you're on the right path.
I love that. That's great, great, great advice. I
Mhm.
love it. So what book would you recommend that the Girl Be Free listeners read? And that could be fiction,
Mm.
nonfiction, self-help, what have you. What books would you recommend?
Oh, girl.
I know, girl.
Oh.
It's hard. That's why I'm asking you. And every time I ask this question, everybody's like, oh my gosh, why?
I know. Oh, okay. All right. So, self help. I feel like everybody and their mama has read this book, but you should probably read it 12 more times. You Are a Badass by Jen SIncero,
Mm-hmm.
or Sincero. I think I pronounced the name wrong.
Yeah.
But definitely, definitely good. If you need like a good kick in the butt to get up and start doing what you want to do, like, that's the book you should read. I probably read it once or twice a year, just
Mm-hmm.
because it's so good, and it kind of gives you like that boost of, okay, like, girl, quit screaming at me. I can do
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, if you are creating any type of content, you should definitely read. Oh gosh, it went out my head. Everybody Writes. Everybody Writes. It's a really, really good book too. And don't ask me the author just yet, because of course I forgot. But it's called Everybody Writes.
It's Jeff Gowen, isn't it?
No, it's a woman.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's a, no, but he does have a good book too on writing. I have that one too. So his
Okay.
book, and then Everybody Writes. But it's a really good book, even if you don't consider yourself to be a writer. But if you're creating video content, social media content, she talks about some really good ways to like capture like your audience and to create good pieces of content. And she writes it in a way that's not like boring. Like it's technical, but she kind of keeps it interesting with like storytelling and stuff too. So that's a good, really good book. I always kind of go back and reference sometimes. So I'll definitely say those two. And then if you're into fiction, anything by Ruth Ware.
Mm.
If you like suspense, thriller type of books that will low key have you in here scared, anything by Ruth Ware is really, really good.
Perfect. I will link to
Yeah.
all of those in the show notes. Just a couple more questions. Share a fun
Okay.
fact with the audience about yourself.
Oh gosh, what is a fun fact about me?
Let me think. I'm like, let me think. Okay, so I know
I
something.
know. Let me
Yeah.
think. So I originally went to school to be a publicist. I knew for a fact that I was going to be working in like a high rise like building with like glass. Like I had it all written out on my vision board.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really thought I was going to be a publicist at first, and it was like there was nothing you could tell me that was going to tell me I wasn't going to be a
Mm-hmm.
publicist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my
I love it. I love it. And then your final question is, what
okay.
does being free mean to you?
Oh gosh, being free to me means having the ability and the space and the clarity to go after everything that I desire, whether that be my purpose or things that just interest me. Being free means being able to just go out and just try things and just seeing what sticks and doing what makes me feel good and not focusing on too much of what is realistic or what would make sense to other people.
I love
Mhm.
it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So share with the audience where they can find you and if you have any exciting new things coming up.
Yeah, so you can find me at the Alicia Nicole. I'm on pretty much every social media platform under the Alicia Nicole. If you want to follow Living Over Existing, you can go on Instagram and find us at Living Over Existing, and then you can catch us at livingoverexisting.com. And then exciting things coming up. We talked about before. I just have my first event for Living Over Existing called Mind Body Brand. So if you're in North Carolina, for all of my country folks, or if you don't mind traveling, I would love to have you there. It's going to be a great time of just networking and giving you some time to just focus and just think about yourself for a little bit before we get too deep into 2020.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the
Thank you.
show. And I will make sure that I link to all the things in the
Okay.
show notes for sure. And until next time, girl, be free. Hey, BFFs. I want to personally invite you to BeFreeInnerCircle.com, your community for real sisterhood where women are showing up and doing the work. Whether you're still trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, or you need accountability to keep pushing forward to reach your goals, the Be Free Inner Circle is the community for you. You can expect curated content that will support you on becoming the best version of yourself, live office hours and Q&A sessions where we chat about things like overcoming self-doubt, building your confidence, practicing self-care without guilt, and so much more. Virtual live events from book clubs and workshops with guest speakers, and a supportive and active community of women that will encourage you, hold you accountable, cheer you on, and give you honest feedback and advice. It's the perfect place to be for women who are ready to show up, flourish, and be free. Join today at BeFreeInnerCircle.com.